Hello. I am back with our continuation of our story. Um, it's my previous video. We just finished nursery school, and the name of the nursery school was Nyakeo Nursery School. I am not sure whether it's still there, but now we're going to primary school. The primary school is Ruiru Primary School in Nyandarua County, Dunduri, Kwarodi. And at this point, the school is still there. Even now, I see it when I go home. So at this point, I start my primary school. Not much going on. So we're going to school as any other kid. I think school fees, challenges here and there, but it wasn't a big deal because it wasn't just us, it was almost everybody. And also, I think to me, it wouldn't bother me so much because when I was born, I would say by the time I knew myself, I found my parents in the same state financially. So I didn't know any other life. That was my norm. So it didn't bother me at all. We could go home, maybe we don't have school fees, and we could stay for a few days, or maybe we could be able to go back after 1-2 days. But it wasn't biggie. And at that time, I'm young. I'm even happy when we are sent home. I'll go enjoy, not waking up so early in the morning in the cold. But I continued with school. At that point, when I was starting class 1, we had 2 brothers and 1 sister in the same school. So at least now I'm not going home. I'm not going to school by myself. I'm not lonely. School is fine. But I was just going because my parents are telling me to go to school. I went through the school, and then now, after maybe I think 2 years, that's when my elder brother went to high school, and then now we were my brother, my sister, and me. We were in primary school. My sister was like two years, 2 classes before me, and my brother, I think I can remember very well about my brother. But at some point, my sister repeated 1 class and we were like 1 class apart. And we continued. My brother and my sister were very, very protective of me when I was in primary school because I was so quiet. I was so introverted. I wasn't any talkative. But looking back, I usually see maybe my sister is very talkative, even my brother, but I think my sister is more talkative. She's the kind that you send a 1 sentence text and she will respond with 5 text messages. You call her and she will give you stories that it can take 30 minutes in 5. So, but I love her so much. She's my only sister. So I think because of growing up with them, being talkative, I felt like I didn't have that space to open up or to talk. So I was so quiet. And also my dad is talkative even now. So when he was coming home from where he used to work, as I said, he was coming on the weekends, and maybe he was coming on Friday evening, went back Monday morning. So I was so close to my dad. I was daddy's girl. So when he was home, I was sitting by him all the time, and he will make me talk at least. And my brother was so protective of me at school. Nobody could touch me. He would literally come to my class and ask me, has anybody bullied you? Because I was so quiet. And I would say no because I didn't want fights. And sometimes he'll find out. And if you try to touch his little sister, you'll face the consequences. I don't know why he liked fighting so much at that time. He's not that way nowadays, but he really loved fighting. I think he's the energetic teenage Brad. So, but when we were at home, it was the other way around. He would beat me, especially when my parents were not home. He would I would really get the beating of my life. And I think also it also was because when my dad was home or when he was coming back from work, he would bring me something because I'm his baby. And he used to call me Mudhoniwa because my name is Mudhoni, but I'm also named after my mom's mom. So in my culture, in my language, Mudhoniwa is like somebody, your wife's or your spouse's parents or mom. So he would bring me something, even if he wasn't financially stable, he would just bring me something little. And he wouldn't give to the other kids, to the other siblings. So I think that got them jealous. I look at it at this point, at this time now. That's how I see it. Maybe that's why I was getting the kichapo, the beating. But they really loved me. It's on siblings. They have rivals, but they really loved me. And um, I continued with school. There was no big things that happened. And I went until class 8. I didn't repeat because in Kenya, if you don't do good, you repeat the same class. So I was an average student. I did not repeat until I was in class 8. In class 8, I found myself in the same class with my brother. And at that point, the teachers at that time, not all of them, but majority of them, I think they lacked the good etiquettes as the teacher because they used to compare us, especially when it came to our results, or if you had a test, they would compare me and my brother, especially if I had higher marks than him, and really that didn't go so well with me. I felt so bad. So during the first time, I told my dad I want to repeat because I didn't like that. I didn't tell him the reason, but that was the reason. I really didn't like it. Comparing us and trying to downplay him, especially when he didn't perform well. I really didn't like it. So since I didn't give the reason, my dad told me other than rather than repeating study 7, I would maybe encourage you to do the exam and then repeat class 8. And also I think he was doing the math. If you repeat, at least I don't have two people going to high school. So it was an advantage to him. uh, so I did my first KCPE. I did not put any efforts because I knew I was repeating anyways. So I got 250 out of 500 marks. I repeated the second time. Still, I did not put any efforts. I'm this kind of student even now. I listen to the lecturer or the teacher while they are teaching, and I get most of my information there. So I didn't put any other extra effort, but I managed to get a 320 out of 500. That was good marks, and I was able to secure a position at a provincial school because in Kenya you choose the schools that you would want to go. So I had chosen as my first option. It was still in Dunduri. It was a provincial girls' school. It's called Nyakiambi Girls Secondary School. It's still there even now, and it performs very well. So I got a mail to go to Nyakiambi, but unfortunately, remember, my parents are now farming. My dad is not even working anymore outside the house, the home. They're just doing farming, potato farming and vegetables. And they have to sustain 7 kids with that. So it wasn't easy. And now they have two kids already in high school. I'm the third one. Therefore, um, my dad asked me, because the school was a good school, but the better the school, the more expensive it is. So he sat me down and told me, um, uh, I can't be able to take you to school right now, to the school of your choice right now, but I would like you to go to, I'll find you a school and you go for 1 or 2 years, and then I'll sort myself and I'll take you to the school of your choice. So I understood and I accepted, but he told me, at least I'll get you a boarding school, because parents then, I think they interpreted going to boarding school as performing well, which might be, maybe it worked. So he went and talked to one of his friends who had a private high school. He was a principal at a school that was close to us. My elder brother used to be in that school, at this school, Ngano Secondary School. So he had a school, private school in Nyahururu, on your way to Nakuru, Subukia, around Subukia, not Subukia yet, but that going to Subukia. So I was admitted there, and it was a mixed day and boarding school, and a mixed girls and boys, but the boys were day scholars and the girls were the boarders. It had quite some challenges, because the school was not, it was like a couple years since he opened it. It was not very old, it was new. So it didn't have a lot of things. Especially, there was no electricity, there was no tap water. So what we used to do is, for electricity, we were using generator for writing. And for that reason, because it's paraffin, the lights were on until 9 for prep. And then after that, they switch it until tomorrow in the morning. And in the morning, actually, they were not switching it on. So it's just during the evening. During the night, it's dark as it can be. It was really scary, because sometimes we would see thugs come to the school, and there's moon outside. You could just see them where you're in the dark. It was really scary, but you couldn't do anything. So also, there was no tap water. Where were we getting our water? We were getting from the river. So when you are getting admitted, you came to school during admission. One of the things that you brought is a bucket for fetching water and a mtungi. Oh my goodness. After school, you had to go to the river and fetch water, and it wasn't that close. It was quite a distance. If you're doing laundry, you can imagine how much water you need. So you have to go back and forth, and you still have to go to preps. So it was boarding, but kinda the day school was better. The stress was too much. Sometimes evening classes, all you were thinking is how you're gonna go fetch water. And the bad thing was this. Now I'm in Form 1. Form 1, if you're from Kenya, you know, boarding schools, there's monorization. So the Form 2s were taking advantage of us. So they would get, if you fetch the water, they would not fetch the water. They would come and steal your water at night. Oh, wow. You wake up in the morning, no water, and you have to shower. So what we used to do, we had a trick. You come with a padlock, your box. You would rather let the box not be rocked during the night. Secure your water at the handle of the bucket and rock it in on your bed, under your bed. But they were more smarter. Once you do that, they'll come and undo the bucket, leave you with the hand on your padlock, and they'll go with water. In the morning, no water. So if you had water, you guys have to either shower together or share the water. That's when I learned you can be able to take a shower with a 5-liter basin and be as clean, as sparkly as you can. So I went through that though. I didn't have any other option. The first year was really hard, homesick plus all this. It was really hard. By the time I was ending my first year, I was now telling my dad I really want to change to a different school because the stress was so much I couldn't even concentrate. So my dad told me he's gonna look for somewhere. So I started Form 2 there. I went through the whole Form 2. And by then I was a Mokorino. Not a real Mokorino, but remember we go to church. We church at KAG, Kenya Assemblies of God. At that time they used to do the turban. But now because I'm going to school, I have to wear a white turban. And that is the faith of my parents. So I had that turban where I was in St. Bernard's. The Form 2 comes. By then, now you're getting accustomed, you're getting used to the school, and I'm almost forgetting that I wanted to change. Now you've made friends, you even don't want to, you still want to change, but still now you have friends, you don't want to go. So by the time I was going to Form 3, I opened school like I think like 2 weeks. And then my dad was able to get the position to the school that I was supposed to go to be admitted for Form 1, Nyakiambi Girls. So he came for me, and now I have to switch from St. Bernard's to Nyakiambi. I was happy because at least Nyakiambi was very close. And I don't want to forget this. When I was in St. Bernard's, there was this teacher who used to be our neighbor from home, and he was a teacher in St. Bernard's. So this teacher, his name was Mr. Kirero. His actual name is his real name is Maina. Kirero is his dad, and actually I heard he's sick, and really I want to bless him. I want to do something for him, because this teacher, every time, because he was going to home every weekend, he would come and ask me, even if I haven't told him, he would come and tell somebody to find me and ask me, do you need anything? Do you want me to bring you? He was human. So yeah, I just went home 2 years ago and I was told he's not feeling well. So yeah, the good you do will always come back to you. So he used to ask me, and I would write maybe stuff that I want, and he would bring me on Sunday when he was coming back. And also my dad used to come every 2 weeks. Every 2 weeks. He could come from all the way from Kwarori to Nyahururu using a bike, because he couldn't afford the fare to come. So he was passing through the bushes to come to see me every 2 weeks. Even my classmates knew my dad really loved me. I was a dad's girl. Even now I am, I admit. So I went through, and now I changed to Nyakiambi. I just wanted to give Mr. Kiriro his flowers while he's still alive. It's good to recognize the people who have touched your life. So, and God willing, when I go home, I'll go visit him. So I go to Nyakiambi Girls. Now I'm in Form 3. I'm still a Mokorino, remember? So I go there and I start the first term. And now coming here, I'm in Form 3, so I have already chose the subjects that I will be doing, and I'll drop some humanities. So one of the subjects was history. I had chosen to do history, and now I have already given my books to whoever wanted to take geography, because I have dropped geography. So I only am focusing on history. My Form 2 and Form 1 books I have given out for geography. And now I come here, and when I check with the teacher, history teacher, Mrs. Kareithi. The name was Mrs. Kareithi. The Nyakiambi girls, alumni can know that teacher. She was so strict. So I checked with her and I realized that I am behind 1 year. That means I'm in Form 3, but we had not touched Form 2 work at all. And this teacher was so strict. She gave me 2 weeks and she gave me a book, a 120 pages book, to copy all the notes and to know and understand them. He was this kind of teacher that when she come to class, everybody stand up, you sit down when you answer the question. And I have no clue, because I only know from one staff. I have no idea what she's talking about. That's how she realized I was 1 year behind when I gave her my book when she asked. So she gave me 2 weeks. I had to do that because I'll get a tough punishment. I worked hard, and by 2 weeks, for sure, I had finished. And it was hard, but later I realized she helped me, because after everything, when I did my KCSE, history was my second best subjects performance wise. So she really helped me. I think I needed the push. I started school. I started Nyakiambi the first term elapsed. Went back home. In Nyakiambi, it is really cold because we were next to the dam, Gwakiongo Dam. So the first term, when I was going home, I got this really big cold, bad cold, that my voice was gone. For a whole one term, I couldn't speak. When I was going home, my voice was like, you could barely hear me. I went for almost 2 terms like that. But at least this school was better. There's electricity throughout. There's water. You could even get hot water. At my previous school, hot water was something else. You couldn't find it anywhere. If there is no tap water, where do you think you're getting the hot water? We were showering with cold water. So this school was much better. It was a good deal for me. And also, I think I was able at least to work harder, because I found people there who are very serious with running. So I went through Form 3, the second term. When I was home, I could use beanies, and when I'm coming back home, back to school, that's when I would put my turban back, because they couldn't allow the beanies at school. You have either you be without anything or have a turban. So I would wear a beanie, and when I'm opening school, when I get to the gate, I'll wear my turban. So the second time I was like, I think I'm grown enough. This thing is not my choice in the first place. It's my parents' choice. So the second time I came with a beanie, and when I got to the gate, I was like, I don't think I'm wearing this thing. I left it in my bag and went without nothing. So when I went in, my classmates were like, oh my God, the Mocorino, the new Mocorino, that is not Mocorino anymore. It was funny. But I was like, I don't care. This is my choice. So I stayed without the turban for a whole time. My parents didn't have no clue. They think I'm still having my turban. And then at the end of the term, I have to go home. I went home, nothing. I remember I got home, I found my parents were were at the farm. So I went past our campaign now Kwarondi, our shopping center Kwarondi, and everybody was looking at me because now my mom is, even now she still have turban. She's in America, but she still have turban, the wrong clothes. So I went and my dad was like, he didn't even say anything. My mom still didn't say anything. I went home. I'm like, don't care attitude. And to be honest, they have never asked me until now what happened. You see, I have dreadlocks. They have never mentioned or asked me what happened. And that is how I removed my turban. And that is how now I'm not a turban person. And I don't like it at all, even now. So I continued with my high school. When I got to Form 4, and remember, when I was in St. Bernard's, we were fetching water from the river. And this river, it's these rivers that don't have bridges. So the vehicles were passing through the water, and you would fetch the water on the other side where the vehicles have already passed. Even the people, even not the people, the animals would pass through, like donkeys, the cows, they would pass through the water. There was no bridge. It was these tiny bridges that only the people walking could be able to fit. So, and that is the water that we are drinking. Even for the kitchen, that is where they went for water with donkeys, with the carts, with the donkeys. So when I was there, I started having stomach issues. But now when I was going to the hospital, because I started now frequenting hospitals. But now when we were going to Nyahururu General Hospital, but since they knew the school and where they were getting the water, and they knew the water was dirty, every time that would go there, they will, I don't think they even did any tests. They would just say you have typhoid or you have amoeba. So I would get treated for those. My stomach is still bothering me. So until when I was in Nyakiambi, still bothering me. I started having acid reflux. And now I would go to now I was going to a Catholic hospital that was close to my school. So same. I don't know whether they were not doing the right test. They could say it's amoeba. I could be given those medication, nothing is changing. But now I started having a lot of acid reflux, and they said I am not supposed to eat githeri. Githeri up to now is my favorite food. So if I come to your place, just make me some githeri. That is my favorite food. Now my freezer, I always have githeri. That is my favorite food. So now they told me I cannot eat githeri. Guess what? Now I have to be on special diet. And special diet means I'll be eating rice. It was like purely white food. Rice, ugari, that is, what else? I think it was just rice and ugari. We could just switch rice and ugari. And cabbage, you cannot eat. I was not supposed to eat kales, green, spinach, nothing. It was just cabbage and I think beans. Sometimes we could get ugari and beans. Sometimes we could, it's in Dodori, remember, we could get ugari and potatoes for us too. So I didn't like it. So I would sneak here and there and exchange my food with my classmates and eat githeri. But I kept on getting stomach issues. either way, I finished my high school, especially my last year of Form 4. I had so much issues. So I was so much stressed. Also, there was a lot of things that were happening in my family that I don't want to disclose here, but a lot of things. I was so stressed. I would say if I look back right now, I would say I was depressed, especially my last term of high school, Form 4, last term, and I think 2 terms. I was depressed. I would just go to prep and I would just be crying. And I'm this person who I could not share with anybody. I think the only person that I shared with was my deskmate, because she was also going through something, but I didn't know. We could cry, both of us. Sometimes at prep, we could just lay on our desks and start crying, and nobody knew what was going on with the other one, and nobody could console the other one. So now looking back, I can tell I had some kind of depression. But now, people didn't have so much information. Even having a nurse at school, they didn't have so much information. At that point, when I was in Form 4, that is when my only sister left the country to go to Germany. And she left when I was in high school. So they really wanted me to, they came to me, they came to ask for permission for me to escort her to the airport. But we had this strict deputy principal, Mrs. Moria. May her soul rest in peace. I heard that she passed on. She was so strict. So she refused and said, no, we don't give those permissions. Unless it's an emergency, we do not. So I was left. I was already depressed with something, and now she added something on top of it. So I was just crying during prep at night, in the evening. But I didn't have any other option. I would just stay in school and finish my high school. And now my sister is gone. But now afterwards, the deputy came to realize that I usually cry a lot during prep. And she called me one time and she asked me what was going on. I couldn't say. She thought at her, maybe she thought it was that incident, because she was so, when she talked to me, she was like, I wish I knew this would affect you this much, I would have let you go. Now, because I didn't want to disclose for all the other stuff, my daddy remains out there, I didn't tell her of the other things that were going on. She thought it was that my sister's thing was the one which was causing me all this crying and depression. But there was other things, but I didn't want to disclose. But either way, I did my KCSE, but frankly, I did not perform. I did not perform wrong, or I did not perform badly, but it wasn't to the standard that I was expecting, or the way I was doing before previously. I think all these stresses affected me so much, because at the end of it, I got a C+. It wasn't bad, but that was not my performance. And I didn't want to repeat, because still my mind was not so settled. And I had trauma. So I felt like even if I repeat, something might repeat itself and find myself the same position, and I will regret. So I went home and I stayed home for some time. Before now, by then now I was preparing and deciding what to do, where to go. Although I had a vision, I knew what I wanted to do. So that is a story of my high school, primary and high school. On my next video, I will be discussing about now life after high school, and we will continue from there. Follow me for my next video to hear more. And after I finish this introduction, I hope I will finish with the next one. I will now indulge to what made me start this video broadcast. Thank you for watching. Keep in touch. Check for the next video for a continuation. All right, thank you. Bye-bye.